I work on a project called Tworkowski. That's wild. How do you guys know about that? I've had a really cool job for the last 5 days. Besides getting to hang out in England and one night in Scotland, I've had the privilege of introducing a band called the Rocket Summer. I think you guys know the bad news tonight. It's been a really good gig because I get to say please welcome the Rocket Summer, and then everyone cheers, and it's really cool. But tonight, all I have for you is a note from Bryce. Alright, so I'm gonna read this. This is from Bryce. He said, "Hey guys," and that's you. I'm writing this because I can't speak right now. I've been waiting for this moment, headlining a show in Manchester for years and years and years. Unfortunately, I'm ill and have lost my voice to the point that I was forced to cancel the show tonight. I'm so extremely disappointed and haven't been this bummed out for ages. But hang on. But I'm sure it happened for a reason, and I promise when we come back, which will be very soon, that I will put on the best show of my life for you guys. The show that will be far greater than what would have happened tonight. Again, I'm very sorry. Thank you for your understanding and forgiveness, and I can't wait to see you again very soon. He said, please keep me in your prayers so that I can get better for the rest of this tour. I love you guys, and I hope you have a fun night. Love, Bryce. Wait, I can't make that call. Hang on.
I asked first! Thank you!
I got the Bryce now. You can buy it on eBay. Hey, so, to write Love Arms, in the States where I'm from, people call it an organization. I've learned that here, you guys would probably call it a charity. We didn't mean to start either of those things. We really just meant to tell a story and to try to help one friend back home. I live in a place called Florida, which is warmer. And so I'm gonna ask a really un-rock and roll. Tonight's a unique night, so I'm gonna ask an un-rock and roll favor and just ask that you try to be quiet just for a couple of minutes, not because I'm important, but maybe there's someone that needs to hear it. So basically, 2 years ago I met a girl back in Florida, and her name is Renee, and she's a friend of mine. And when I met her, her life was in a really difficult place, and she had known a history of depression and addiction and self-injury. I met her after a suicide attempt, and basically she was denied entry into treatment and spent the next 5 days with myself and some friends. And halfway through that time, I asked her a really surprising question and expected the answer to be no. I asked her what she thought about the possibility of telling her story. And obviously that's a really vulnerable thing, and figured that she would say no. And she surprised me and said some things that I'll never forget. But basically she said, number one, that she loved the possibility that there could be a purpose for her pain, that other people might be able to relate to the things that she had been through, and other people might find hope in her story. And we didn't have the privilege of a happy ending. We didn't have the privilege of telling this story 5 years later, but we basically just wanted to tell it. We wanted to be honest about, the stuff that was hard, and yet the sense of hope that we had in the middle of that. And so basically we spent 5 days together, stayed up late, just got to know her, and really her first days coming back to life, and so first time sober in a long time. She entered treatment, and I sat down and just wrote this story, not really knowing where it would go. It wasn't very long, it was a couple pages long. Kept coming back to this funny title that was way too long to be a title. It looked more like a Panic at the Disco song or something. But so name this thing "To Write Love in Her Arms," and then Renee entered treatment. And this is something I haven't said on this tour, but Renee entered treatment, and then we started to realize that there was going to be financial needs, that it was going to cost money, and her family doesn't have a lot of money, and so how would we pay for it? And I went and saw a band in Orlando, and the band that I saw is a band called Coldplay. So Coldplay happened to be in town that night, and I was really blown away. I think there's something about singing Yellow in a room with 15,000 people that just kind of is inspiring, So, and then the yellow balls come out of the ceiling, and it's a good gig. So I basically walked out of that show really inspired and had this idea that this had to be more than a story, and decided that we would print these t-shirts, which were these t-shirts, just to raise money to get our friend through treatment. And then we felt like that we wanted the thing to have a home, we wanted people to find the story, we wanted people to find the shirts. And so I made a MySpace page, just so that maybe some people would find it. around town. Basically, the t-shirts started ending up in some surprising places, and guys who spend their nights on stages started to wear these shirts, and you guys are probably familiar with some of them. But most importantly, we started to hear from people who said that Renee's story was their story,